That actually sounded like her for a second.
Oh yeah,
mate.
I'm good at Kelis' voice.
Do an impression of Kelis.
I can't. I have to do it off the cuff. Yeah.
Okay.
The funniest one is when we're in the studio writing, and she'll write an absolute banger, and she's like, "I hate it. Let's do something less obvious that everyone hates."
Killa Kela Podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
THTC, the UK's leading ethical streetwear label. Organically grown and ethically built garments from hemp, organic cotton, and other sustainable materials. 2019 is their 20th anniversary year. Join me with THTC as a Killa Kela Podcast sponsor celebrating music, social activism, hemp, and street culture. THTC, eco-fashion redefined since 1999. 101.4 FM, 24 hours a day, all genres.
XFM.co.uk.
Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela Podcast.
Anyone who likes animals gets our seal of approval. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Killa Kela Podcast, reporting to you live and direct. You know where central as we need to be in London. It's another fine day with another fine guest. A big shout out to Graffiti Kings holding it down for us. And yeah, man, share, subscribe, pass, tell a friend, all that. We are inside with a long-standing friend of mine who has flourished like a creative starburst in all different genres, directions, whilst holding down Motherhood and fucking touring with Kelis. This is Nikki Beatnik inside the place.
I'm happy to be here.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit tired from flying yesterday, but I'm all good.
It's we share a very common bugbear of labour intensity when it comes to like vlogs and stuff like that, innit? We've had our share.
Yeah, definitely.
It's your world,
I've
it has been.
A YouTube channel with my brother for quite a few years, and we did everything ourselves. So, yeah. But I'm a little bit of a control freak creatively, so I'd rather just do everything ourselves, from producing records to writing to like all of it, and then I'm like happy.
It's a burden, isn't it? Because delegation is it's a constant. You have to give it to someone at some point because it's just going to kill you.
Yeah.
But it's also you don't want to, do you?
Yeah, and also sometimes creatively, unless you're very, very on the same page, it'll come out completely different if you do hand it over to someone else.
Maybe it's a communication thing. Maybe when you hand it over to somebody...
I'm very good at communicating.
So am I.
I'm very clear
and
about
sometimes
everything.
it gets great, doesn't it? And like, maybe it didn't explain myself properly that when I wanted something done like this, it had to be like this.
Yeah.
But I do think there is...
Maybe you're a bit too polite or British about it. And
British.
Yeah. Do you think you could do this?
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
And then you're like, this isn't what I wanted at all.
God damn it. Take it over.
Yeah. I think what years of working with Americans has straightened that out in me.
Be very direct, yeah.
Even still, they'll be like, she's being very British about this. She hates it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I do actually hate it. But I'm like, that's quite nice. So Kelis knows now if I say that's quite nice, I absolutely hate it. She's like, she means she hates it. She's just being British. I'm like, I'm still British compared to the USA.
That actually sounded like her for a second.
Oh yeah,
mate.
I'm good at Kelis' voice.
Do an impression of Kelis.
I can't. I have to do it off the cuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, just let it slide in there like halfway or something.
The funniest one is when we're in the studio writing, and she'll write an absolute banger, and she's like, I hate it. Let's do something less obvious that everyone hates. And I'm like, that's how she writes songs, basically. If it's like, I'll be like, that's a hit.
Yeah.
Just release it right now. And she's like, no, I want to write something less obvious. I'm like, you basically want to write songs that everyone doesn't understand and hates, and they're the ones you like. And then she'll write something like Bounce, and I'm like, you know that's a hit, right? And she's like, no, I thought it was terrible. And I'm like, what the hell?
So she's got no meter on like what is commercial and
she
what
has
is...
no idea. And the more left field and weird it is, the more she likes it. And yet she'll write an absolute banger, and I'm like, that's a hit. Like, and there's loads of them sitting there doing nothing that she hasn't released, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Mad.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll totally get into this, and more so your stuff as well.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know about Nikki Beatnik, DJ, that prolific DJ that's run London for a very long time, and everywhere else for that matter. Got on the touring circuit with Kelis, and then they've been long-standing relationship buddies on tour and whatnot. But then there's the Hip Hop Homes, which is a lifestyle brand, and then there's the Mums That Rave setup that you've created alongside some other awesome individuals. You know what I mean? Like, this.
Well,
this
I come
is
from a
crazy.
history of DJing because I started when I was 15, so I was like in on it early, and that was a long time ago. And then it took me like a good 7-8 years to even properly get proper gigs in London. And even then, it wasn't like easy to make a route for yourself. Yeah. So then I went into club promoting, and it was all women. My whole team was girls. Like, we ran half of the West End clubs and stuff, and we had club nights, and we were all girl teams. So promoting, running the door, the tables, the DJ, like all women. Back in the 90s, I'm talking like. So that's when I really established myself as a DJ. But I'd been DJing since I was a kid. So, but it took all that time to, like, you know, it used to take a long time, because even record shopping wasn't that easy. Like, you couldn't always get a foot in the door to get the best records with people. It was like a real hierarchy.
Yeah.
And not being able to, like...
We talk about this hierarchy all the time. It's just mad, isn't it?
I mean, now it's not like that, because you can download music, but it was, like, very, very hard to get your foot in the door and even be taken seriously to get DJ spots. So once I started promoting my own nights and really they were popping, everyone else then booked me, and then all the celebrity bookings came and all the artist parties and all that. Yeah, it's like the more hype you've got, the more people want you, right? But I was always DJing. So.
For real?
But yeah, so that club promoting has carried into... I've curated events for big brands and done like events the whole time, like the last 20 years. But then last year I started Mums That Rave, because I became a mum 5.5 years ago. And I really felt like being a woman in music isn't easy. And then being a mum in music, even more
Double
preconceptions.
levels.
Yeah, you can't just swan off on tour. Like, I'd be out on tour like 6 months of the year before. Now you've got a human, you can't, and small human relying on you. Can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go DJ.
Can I ask you, on that note, where does the mindset go? Because I've got a couple of mates that got kids, and they seem...
the guy ones or the women ones?
I'll speak for the guys. I'll speak for the guys, because I know it's a different set of responsibilities. Because in one sense, they just kind of continue.
Yeah, exactly.
But so this is what I'm asking you. Like, how do you accept that a child you have a duty to the child to give them as much attention, and also give them the respect of having their own decisions, and you being the person that has to provide for that?
Yeah, well, I think when you're a mother, I mean, not everyone, obviously, but for me, because I waited so long, and I DJ'd and I've been all over the world. Like, I've been to, like, I've DJ'd in probably like 65, 70 countries. I've been to way more. I've travelled the world. I did a lot of stuff. I met everyone I ever wanted to meet. It wasn't like I was lacking something. So by the time I actually had my kid, that then became the most life-changing, reaffirming thing that had ever happened to me. And my whole existence was like, now it's about you. It stopped being about me completely. Like, it was never really just about me. I'm not one of those, like, crazy narcissistic people. Like, I'm not that person. I was always very family orientated, but I would never ever moan about me having to prioritize or not be able to take a job or a gig or not be able to do this because I've got a kid, because now that's the most important job that I've ever done.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue. Like, I try never to get like take out frustrations of work, and like, honestly, my earnings did drop quite a lot when I had my kid. But I took, I thought I'd be back DJing after like 2 weeks, a week. I honestly thought I'd be back. I had a weekly at the W Hotel that I used to do a party, that hip hop party every Wednesday. And I had a monthly in Shoreditch that I'd done for years and years. And I thought, oh, I'll have the kid at the weekend. And then I reckon I probably missed this Wednesday, but probably next Wednesday I'll be back at the club. I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. I soldiered the pregnancy. I was on tour up until 4 days before I gave birth. I was on stage in Manchester with All Saints. I was doing All Saints tour. They'd like come back, and then I was DJing Kelis's tour. So I was on tour buses the whole time I was pregnant. Whoa. I was flying back and forth doing my own gigs all around Europe till 7 months.
Mad.
I was just like, oh, I'm an absolute soldier. I've got this on lock. And then when I had the baby, everything went wrong in the hospital. Long story short, I had to take 8 weeks off, and I have never taken that much time off work, ever.
What?
When I say I took time off work, I was... the day after I gave birth, I woke up and I was sending emails from the bed, like, C-section.
Like, just another day.
Like, yeah, I'm just going to keep doing what I was absolutely deranged. But so I was still like running things, like paying people and, you know, doing promo and checking flyers and checking tour dates and stuff, but I couldn't physically walk. So it took me 8 weeks to go back to work, and then I still wasn't that well. But I was back in the club DJing, wearing like C-section pants, getting my sexy on. It
damn,
was
absolute
so this is
soldier.
like the reality of like what mums actually go through, and no one has a clue like that you're
There's a
doing all
clue.
this stuff.
This is such an interesting angle. Like I didn't even know I was going to be opening a treasure trove of conversation when I asked that question.
Right?
Well, this is amazing.
But yeah, so everything does get put behind the priority of being a mum, but at the same time I still have to hustle and earn money because there's no job security in what we do.
No, not ever.
So I'm like, I'm still having to pay other people if I'm running the club. I've got my promoter.
Do you get some days? Do you get some days or weeks where you're just? I fucking do. And where you get these moments of like, fuck, my diary's fucking empty next month.
Oh yeah, that's the worst as well.
Worst feeling.
So then you're even more stressed because then you're like, I don't have any work. What the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Because the machine keeps on rolling, the bills keep on going out.
Yeah,
and
And to be honest, as a DJ especially, you're used to being as good as your last gig. So even if you've just done, like I've done so many amazing big gigs and like been DJing for Diddy or whatever, and then the next day I'm like, what the hell? What am I doing next week? You know what I mean?
It's looking so good in the diary and now it's gone.
Yeah, but like people live through Instagram now, so they kind of plan it out and make it all look polished, even if it isn't.
Yeah.
But you know, like if I come on interviews and stuff, my Instagram is popping. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't show all the bad
real.
stuff on there. But if I come on interviews, I'm always very real about what it's actually like, especially for girls and what you actually have to go through, and now being a mum as well. So that was like the big inspiration for me starting Mums That Rave, because there was no real, I feel like there's still not that much representation of mums in music.
No.
Like, you remember like when Naina Cherry was pregnant on stage? That was a big thing.
It's a big deal.
But think about how many other women on stage you see that are pregnant. There's not many.
I would throw maybe MIA into the mix.
Yeah, MIA, and then
that's it.
I remember Mel from All Saints, because that was like a big scandal at the time.
That was a big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the combat trousers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like massive respect to her, because I know she had a lot of pressure on her, like not to appear like
At
that.
that time as well.
Yeah, because it was like very pop band. You know, no
However,
one's
if the
going to find you
Spice Girls-
sexy if you're a mum kind of thing.
Exactly. If the Spice Girls was to have done it though, then that would have been girl power. Which
Yeah.
is such a risk genre,
Yeah.
because All Saints were kind of the one and the same back then, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. But so to me, there wasn't that much representation. A lot of times, women in music were getting pregnant and they'd go off and disappear off the radar and then come back like a couple of months after the baby looking exactly the same, like age 8 jeans again. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like, where's the kids? Like, what actually happened here?
I
Yeah.
know.
How is this reality? It's not reality. And no one really tells you that you're going to have to adjust your business plan around having a child, and you won't be able to just, like, especially because I looked after him all the time, so I didn't really have a nanny or anything. So in the daytime, like when he was napping, I was doing emails and like business plans, things like that. And then I worked out, like as DJs, I think in the UK, you have to have multiple skills and be a bit of an entrepreneur. So you're either doing radio. Radio is like a big avenue for a lot of DJs. That's their goal.
Because
so it was
then
never
that
really my
becomes their
goal.
cash cow, doesn't it? For when they go and
So the radio then brings agents, and like if you're on One Extra, there's a whole machine that will then take care of you, and you become big, and you can do festivals and this kind of thing.
like Kiss as well, like History and all those sorts of things that happen at Ministry.
There's a
and
big
things,
machine behind you.
Yeah.
So so that's one avenue. But I think if you're like a true club DJ and you come from the culture of
The hustle.
working the hustle and working your way up, and you know, like the DJs will know what I'm talking about, but that real kind of, you are a hustler. And so when I became a mum, I was like, I have to not only write and produce and do all these other things, I need some passive income, which is a good one.
The big one.
Yeah, so merch.
There's a buzzword, hashtag motherfucker.
Yeah, passive income. So, like, if I'm not out on the road and I don't actually have to be physically in the club,
That's right.
I was like, what other revenue streams can I make? So YouTube, merch. I had like a whole range. I still have a DJ t-shirts, no request t-shirts that we do on our website. And because I come from an art background as well.
Which we will get into, by the way.
Yeah, so that was like always the two things that I was interested in, like fashion, creativity, art, and then music, which I think all go hand in hand anyway.
Totally.
So the passive income became more of a thing for me, and I'm like, I need ways, if I'm not out on the road, to also make money, if I'm not in the club, if I'm not running the club night. So I still do all that stuff as well.
But it just means that you're not held down by having to be somewhere where you could be doing something else, and the passive income, you could be anywhere in the world, and it comes,
exactly, and it's still coming as long as you're like promoting it. But then you become like a bit more of a marketing person, because you have to market it, so you have to get it on other people to get seen, get it on Instagram, get it on social media.
Talk to me about that, the marketing side of something like, for instance, the Hip Hop Homes thing, which arguably has a lion's share is passive. That you'll get the call and let's send them out. Yeah, you need a base to make that happen. But yeah, like you say, that you have to have a marketing strategy, which a lot of artists, myself included,
it's bloody
hard.
confusing. It's really hard. There's people that take care of that, like huge departments, and still they get it wrong.
Yeah.
So if you've managed to have any kind of longevity in music or DJing, first of all, you're doing good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Start with the longevity
Because I've
thing.
seen so many people come and go. Every few
that.
years there's a new person that's like the hottest thing, and the ones that like have had really long careers, there's a reason for that.
And is that their marketing acumen?
I think so. I think they're kind of good at business. They make smart decisions.
Does it make you feel a little bit cynical that they come in and come out to the point where you're just like, you're only going to be here for a bit?
I'm like, let's see where you are in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I hope that they will be doing well and thriving and stuff. But it is a little confusing now with Instagram and like people that are Insta famous, and we just made DJing way too cool. Everyone that was there at the beginning, like, remember, was it De La Soul and everyone wants to be a DJ?
Yeah, it's
and
true.
I was like in the 80s or something. I was like, oh yeah, they're right.
They
like,
kind of forecast.
yeah, they did. They're smart MFs, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that they, now it's, I feel like on one hand, the technology has diminished the technical requirements for a DJ.
Yeah.
It has its pluses and it has its negatives.
But on the other hand, there's all the scratch DJ fraternity that are taking that technology and mind-blowing stuff with it. Where I'm like watching them all the time, I'm like, can't quite work out what he did there. Let me rewind that. And they are flying with the new technology.
Like crazy buttons.
And I love drum pads now on my mixer, and all that stuff has just opened up a whole new world of DJing. It's so fun, especially because I put together people's shows as well. Like I've put together Kelis shows for years and stuff with her. That kind of technology, like we did Ableton Live, and we were doing like live remixes on stage back in like 2012 and stuff.
Yeah.
I had no clue what I was doing half the time, and nor did she, but it was fun, and we like tried new stuff, which is always something you can do with her, and she doesn't get scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like for tour DJing, it's absolutely brilliant. Like, and now I'm kind of obsessed with the Rain 12s.
Crazy.
I love those things.
It's actually insane.
I love them. They
levels.
feel like 1210s.
Really?
Oh my God, the responsiveness where you can scratch them, everything. They're amazing. I really need some, but I've been putting off that big expensive buy because I also need
How much
a new
are they
Mac.
worth? Are they a lot of money?
I think they're like 800 each or
piece?
something. I think.
So
I'm not sure.
They're
But
still competitive,
1210s
man.
haven't lost their value. I've had mine since 89.
Yeah.
And they haven't lost their value,
Yeah.
so I'm
That
showing how
says
old
a
I
lot.
am.
No, but that does say a lot about Technics. There's still like this like complete thing about Technic. It's like you don't say turntable. You actually say Technics.
You said 1210s or
1200s
or whatever.
And it's just such a given. It's like, saying...
It was a given back then. It was like, that's what we all wanted. I had Technics belt drives first. And you had to like do this to try and keep it in.
Or twist
because they
it.
go out like, if
Was
you're
it where you're
mixing
twisting the...
the little metal bit in the middle. I've forgotten the name for that, if there is a name for it. But yeah, and you'd be like pushing it around with your finger and trying not to make it... Yeah, exactly. And they were so temperamental, and the belts would like break and stuff. So I remember having them and then dreaming of having 1210s. And yeah, I got my 1210s. I've got the same pair. So it is an investment.
Yeah.
You just get them serviced. They're good as new.
The Rolex of...
I've had many mixers though. I started on a made to fade, which was this big.
Oh, I remember that. Is that the one
Made
with
in
the kind of the little
Little
kind of
dancing guy on it.
Yeah.
Little
And it's got the little kind
breakdancer.
of meters on it that are kind of triggering with the sound.
Yeah.
Don't understand what that was about.
Who knows, but it worked good.
yeah.
It was like literally 2 channels and a crossfader and it worked. So I was like,
Yeah. We're really busting our
Amazing.
ages right now.
Yeah.
But I must say, and I'm going to pause this for a second to say to you, when I first met Pharrell, you were DJing.
Oh yeah, probably.
And I went into the club, and the first person I saw was you, and I was just working familiar face, you know.
Yeah.
And then that was where I met his manager, and that was really the first.
Oh,
time.
I think I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Did I introduce you guys?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You introduced me to Phil.
Oh.
Big up Phil, by the way, Phil Lees.
Hey.
Um,
Well, it's apt that you're speaking about Pharrell today because there's been an article in The Guardian, an interview with Kelis about that.
oh right.
Yeah, and stuff that I've known for a very long time, but I shouldn't really speak on it in case I get sued or something.
Okay.
I just keep my mouth shut about all of that stuff because I
Really?
know all, like obviously we all used to hang out back in the day. I met Pharrell through Kelis, and he'd always be like, "Hey, I love your DJing, but mate, can you play me some AC/DC?"
That's my guy.
Yeah, and actually I did used to play a lot of sets like that, but if I'm playing like a straight up hip hop club, I'm like, Pharrell, it's not going to go down well in
it's
here.
not like that.
But I've done rock gigs, I've done stuff with Ronnie Woods for Rolling Stones, and because I love mixing different genres and stuff. But yeah, so Pharrell, and obviously I knew Kay when she was working with him first, and then the first album, the second album, the third album, and I know a lot of. Obviously, then she got with Nas, and like I've done all the eras basically. So I know a lot of stuff that I cannot talk about or won't, just because I take the fifth on it all. But yeah, there was a lot of. It was crazy times.
Well, but just to frame this so it makes more sense, you are very close with Kelly. You are like, you two are like,
like
fucking
besties,
best
yeah.
mates.
Yeah.
And I would imagine just getting a gauge, you probably text each other most days.
Yeah.
On some banter.
Yeah, there's
So,
a lot of banter. She calls me crazy white lady, which I refute. Because I'm very organised and I'm very like, I've got every single show we've ever done saved, like every show for the last at least a decade.
What, in terms of audio live show, you've got it all on?
I've got every single thing we've ever done, every single format of show we've done from Russia to... If she said, oh, Nick, what did we play in Russia in 2011? I'd be like, here.
God, I want you in my life. Do you charge? Can we do this? Let's do this, man.
I'm not super, I am quite... Because I know she's the kind of artist that will just throw stuff in the mix. We do everything live. They've been trying, like, management tried to get us to, like, format some kind of show every time, and then she'll be like, oh, hey, let's put some disco in the show tonight, or let's do... What tune's really big in Finland right now?
Let's play that
and I'll
one
be
as
like,
well,
and
yeah.
she'll be like, oh, can you do, like, a little intro with that, and do a little scratch, and then do it into, like, Bossy or something?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, let me think, and then, oh,
That's
we should drop
amazing.
some... One day she was like, I feel like I want to dress like Diana Ross at Studio 54, but then have some Nirvana vibes. And so we put that in the show, and it just worked so well. It's been in there for ages.
Really?
So we've got like Sylvester and Diana Ross and like Nirvana, but all kind of mixed together. And we do like little cover versions, but snippets. So it's like...
I remember this.
Because hip-hop to me is... borrowing samples from all eras of music and different music. So I always try and put that into the show, and some people don't really get it.
No.
And I'm like, this is the essence of hip-hop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't always have to do your own tune, because all hip-hop's got samples from
Everything.
Rare Groove, Soul, Teddy Pendergrass, whatever. You know, like, people have done that from the beginning of time. So we kind of get where we're going with it. But other people are like, what the hell? What's going on here?
I mean, just on this subject, you have to, I guess, because she's quite bohemian, you have to stick to, you get given the parameters.
Yeah, there's no parameters
So there's
whatsoever.
none. So you just got the creative space to
And
just...
I know, like, right before we go on stage sometimes, she'll be like, oh, Nick, what's that tune by Donny Hathaway I love? But then there's also that house tune, and I'm like, oh, God, here we go. I'm going to have to find some crate with no Wi-Fi. I'm at a festival. I'm like, and it will just be thrown in. Or she'll turn around to me on stage and she'll be like, cut whatever tune. And the problem is I'm really deaf from DJing for so long, and she's kind of deaf from singing. And so she says stuff to me. I have no idea. I can't lip read. She's like, "You're the worst." She'll turn around.
It gets
There'll be
ab-fab
like
real quick.
20,000 people out the front. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, "You're the worst. You can never hear me." And I'm like,
Yeah.
so I just play
Flat.
whatever. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, now we're going to go with this because I don't know what she said. So yeah, it's like,
You know
it's
there's a
hilarious.
sitcom in this.
Yeah,
You know
there's
there really
definitely,
is a
people have
sitcom.
been saying for years we should have our own show. And I was like, only if you want us to offend absolutely everybody. Like, we will be taken off the air immediately.
It sounds like a live show waiting, you know.
Because Kelis is like a very straightforward person. You know where you stand with her at all times. And she speaks her mind, which is, I love. Yeah, I'd be like, we can't have a show. People have been saying it for years, like, you two need your own show.
I met her. Oh, I mean, I met her a bunch of times, but not that enough to say specifically when. But the last time I was doing the Them and Us project.
Was it when we did Proud in Camden?
We did Proud.
Yeah, and
she
you
walked
opened.
in. Yeah, and I did Milkshake. She was like, "Yo, this is it," you know.
Did you?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
A big box milkshake. Yeah,
No
in the
way.
sound check though.
Oh.
And she came in just as I was doing it. I was like, "Oh, that's timing." But more so, I was in LA. And I stumbled out of Rainbow Bar and Grill, walking down Rockin' Riley's, and then she literally walks out of Rockin' Riley's, and she's like, "Oh, I remember
What is
you."
that, an ice cream shop or something?
No, it's like an Irish bar. Yeah, it was random. It was random.
Sounds random.
But
she
walks
loves a
out-
Guinness though, so
yeah,
it's
that's
not that
probably
random.
It, yeah. And she goes, "Oh, I remember you from Camden. You were the guy with the big lights."
Yeah,
so it's like, yeah. But it's just, she's lovely, you know.
Yeah, she is. She's a very genuine person, which is, I think, why she's stayed on the sort of periphery of music, because she's definitely a trailblazer. She's definitely someone that did stuff before other people, and people are now recognizing that more. Like Solange is always saying it, like that's who's inspired her. A lot of people don't admit it, but they've all watched her for years.
Why? Because I get that feeling, and I'm
Yeah.
sure she does.
Well, I think because music's quite compartmentalized, right? Especially, I think, I don't want to say especially in the States, because we do it here too. It's like, oh, you're a hip hop DJ. Oh, you play that. Oh, you do rock and roll. I'm like, it's just music. There's good and bad music. There's no, like,
100%.
I don't like genres.
Yeah.
And Kelis is like that too. She's like, if I want to make a rock song or a dance song, I'm going to make whatever I
do it,
want. And
yeah.
if it feels good, it feels good. So that's the premise. But I think it was always hard to put her in a certain box. And then add to that, she's a black artist. And people are like so confused. Why is she touring with U2? Why is she opening for like the Rolling Stones or whatever?
But that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah.
It's like
but
this Grace
her,
Jones
imagine-
kind of thing. It's
yeah,
like,
she's exactly like Grace.
Yeah.
She's like our era's Grace.
Yeah.
They're
And
very
Nena.
similar characters.
yeah, really, yeah.
Yeah, if you watch the Grace documentary, I was like, this. I text Kay, I was like, oh, I'm watching our documentary right now. It's like being on tour with you, basically. And it's so funny because Grace gets on the phone and like cusses out the producer. I'm like, oh, hi, Kelis.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you not here? Except Kelis wouldn't be there. She'd be like, oh, I'm cooking something. But yeah,
there's not enough powerful artists, like girl or boy. I
Yeah.
find a lot of artists, bend over the barrel and just like comfortably get shafted.
That's never been her, so that's why I
Yeah.
think she went through different record companies, different management, and there's been something in the papers like Neptune's claiming, or people saying she didn't get her royalties, whatever, but then people have assumed that it's because Neptune's wrote her stuff, which is a joke because Kelis has written every freaking record that I can sit there and watch her just write hit after hit. If she wanted to, if she was interested in the music industry in any way, which she isn't really, the industry side of it, she's just very good at music and loves music because that's her background, and she was classically trained. I was classically trained. We both went to music school, but we're both like more interested in real life than industry shit. But if she wanted to, she could easily be the top songwriter, just banging out hits for people, because she's absolute magic to watch in the studio.
Really?
She just gets the feeling, and she'll just have lyrics, and you'll be like, that lyric's so good, I want to smack someone. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? How did you come up with that?
And it's the way that she presents.
Yeah.
That's her style, and that's why she can translate onto different genres.
Yeah, I think so.
Because her voice is so distinctive.
Yeah,
like-
it's very distinctive. But I wish she would write with other people. I've been saying, like, if we did this together, we could make dough. She was like, I was like, we could just sit in your. She's got a blue room in our house where we just sit and watch movies and stuff. I was like, imagine we could just sit in the blue room and just send them out to your management. Yeah. And we'd be all right.
Well, yeah, and you do
we
it in
could.
abundance.
And we can watch Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah,
Like,
the jobs are good. Yeah.
yeah, but the fact that people are kind of speculating to say that maybe the Neptunes wrote her stuff, I'm like,
Do you think that's a
it's ridiculous.
spicy alert? I'm going to ask a question that I think needs to be asked. Do you think that there's an undermining of her as person as by the media because she's female and because Neptunes are so,
all powerful? So, well, she doesn't give a flying fuck if they're powerful or not, basically, because she's known them since.
Totally, since.
I think she was like maybe 15 when she started making music with them.
Wow.
Like, because I think her original stuff came out, well, maybe 17, I'm not sure, but she was really young, and she was like writing songs and making music because she went to Juilliard. So that was her thing. Like, she always wanted to. She actually loved musical theatre, and that was like what she studied at school, which I hate. I hate musicals and all that. Like, that's the worst thing ever.
No,
She's like,
I'm on the fence.
Oh,
it's got to have a message.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, sidebar. Yeah. So I don't know whether I just think that just happens in general. Like, if you speak up and you're an outspoken chick, you're gonna get called angry. You're going to get called a bitch. You're going to get called all kinds of things because it's still a man's world at the end of the day. Add to that, she's a black woman. Mate, she's going to get double as much because they're the most underrated group of women on the planet. They're frigging amazing. Like, smash everything and still won't get the same opportunities as their white counterparts. Sing better. Run faster. Do you know what I mean? Like, in everything that they're given opportunities. Yeah. So I think Kelis definitely felt that, and definitely when we tour, you can see she'll be like, it's weird because we've had a lot of instances where people don't know who she is, but just see her as like this crazy larger than life character in the airport or whatever, in first class or in business, and they'll be questioning her. Like, this is just everyday shit that she still goes through after 20 years of music and making her mark, where they'll just see a brown girl that with some, like nice stuff, and they'll be like, well, why are you in seat 1A? Are you sure you're supposed to sit there?
Yeah, I get that. That
kind of
condescending bullshit.
But basically. Whereas I won't get that, but I'm touring with her, do you know what I mean? So I can see the differences. I can see how hard she's had to fight for everything. And there's such a big subject that I can't really... But I think, a lot of times the press will be ready to brand her like Harlem-born feisty Kelis. You know what I mean? Yeah, she is. Like, because she came into this from really young, like I did, and we had to frigging fight for every single crumb of what we got. Like,
and but at the same time, two things. It's funny you say that, and I totally get there. In an everyday life of Kelis, there's a lot of jumping through hoops and some absolute low life bullshit that she has to deal with. But I totally I still see Kelis as non-human.
Yeah, she is.
She's just this entity.
She's not. She doesn't sleep. She sleeps like 2 hours a day. She still looks 12 years old.
Yeah. She's
very
non-human,
annoying.
man.
She's not. She's a beast.
And
then she'll make a cordon bleu meal. And she's mental. She out-mentals me. She'll tell you I'm more mental than she is. But so I think that's why we've become like, such good friends over the years. But at our core, we're both very like solid people. Like,
but you must get it as well because you're a beautiful, blonde lady. You know what I mean?
It's hanging in there.
But what I'm saying is, you must get that stereotype as well. Everything.
My stereotype would be different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I remember once me and my brother did an interview. It's so funny. This is why I love British people. On, I think it was Producer's House. It was one of those like SBTV or something. And we were talking about production and all our music production, our own label and writing and producing stuff. And one of the comments underneath was, they look like they should be running the Queen Vic.
Oh my God. I would take that as a compliment.
Who are these white people? Like, what the hell? They don't look like the average like music producers or whatever.
But that's the best bit.
I never looked like the average hip-hop DJ, I guess.
No.
And I don't really count myself as a hip-hop DJ, so I come from that background because that's what I started. But when I was 15, I was interested in house music, electronic, like Strings of Life was one of my biggest influences records-wise, Chicago house, like Detroit, techno,
Todd Terry,
Derek May, Todd Terry, Masters at Work, Benji Candelario. All these guys were like my ultimate DJs that I loved.
But then what's that, Todd Terry?
No, that's Little Louis Vega and Kenny Dope.
That's the one.
But all these guys, like David Morales, I was as interested in that as I was in hip hop. So I'd have Jazzy Jeff on one side and then Masters at Work on another, and a lot of I would watch them like how they DJ'd and then also watch hip hop DJ. But I was interested in both, so I still mix all genres, and I think that comes from that love of like just loving the DJ. Yeah. I don't care what kind of DJ you are, as long as like you're killing it and your skills are good in the selection. Yeah, I can get down with any kind of music really.
Yeah, sometimes like we were talking about scratch DJs, and sometimes that technicality outweighs the selection.
The musical, yeah. Well, I remember because my favourite British DJ for a long time was Pogo, and he would beat juggle and scratch. Like, he's ridiculous. Like, I remember going around his house and like having little scratch offs and like just trying to watch what he was doing and pick up bits. And I'm like, what the hell? He's like so good, and he, like me, had been doing DJing but turntablism from a kid. Yeah. So like, you know, he's just so talented. But his musicality and the way that he would beat juggle, so he could do it without making it seem like a scratch battle. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So he could keep a crowd, and like you'd just be like, I don't know what he's quite done there, but he's so musical. He's just on another level, basically. He doesn't really get the props he deserves now, I think.
I know, which is actually sad. He's been brought up a couple of times in some podcasts that are coming soon, and even I had to confess, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go back to my guy.
Yeah, Pogo's amazing. He's no joke. Yeah,
I know.
He's no joke.
And like you say, there's an art, right, to peacocking within your DJ set and not making it look like you're peacocking. You know what I mean?
Because people have got a low tolerance for that in clubs. Like, I'm through and through a club DJ, and then I can scratch a little bit, like enough for clubs and then enough for touring and stuff. And I can do beat juggling, but not like on that level. I'd have to be practicing all the time, and I've got a kid and I've got a record label, and I'm actually more interested in writing and producing now than I am in just DJing. So like for those guys, they're practicing maybe like, I remember Scratch Perverts told me they would practice 8 hours a day before competitions.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah,
at all.
I mean, they're so talented. It's amazing, but you've got to be uber geek as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You've actually got to be on scale a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've kind of got to be
like... I quite like shopping for shoes and other things like that.
Yeah.
Like,
but isn't that interesting?
Got other interests as well, but I love DJ culture so much that I admire those people.
Yeah.
And there's one girl in LA, DJ Shorty, who I love. Like, she does a lot of amazing scratch videos.
Yeah.
She's so good and like very humble and she's so talented. But yeah, there's quite a few that I follow, and I love Beast Mode in Australia as well. He is so dope. I think he just did what is A-Track's competition that he does? The Goldie Awards.
That's it.
Yeah, I think Beast Mode came second or something. Beast Mode's got something special as well. He's very musical in the way that he does his scratch stuff. I really like him. But yeah, I'm just a big fan of DJs in general, especially if they've paid their dues, and like even new ones. If I see talent in someone, I'm like, this is dope, you know?
It's
I just love DJ culture because it's been more than half my life, and it's taken me all over the world. So
and you're still inspired. You're inspired by seeing it?
Especially like seeing new mixers and like the 12s now and the
that
S9 mixer. Yeah, I love it. And the new Rain 74, I think, is the one I want, but then brought out 72, which looks good as well. Yeah, like I'm slightly geeky, don't get me wrong. Like the way my Serato crates are set up and the shows, like I've got slight Asperger's brain when it comes to stuff like that. And if I'm DJing, I'll be thinking like 20 tracks ahead. You know, I've always had that kind of brain that thinks in a slightly different way, which helps with DJing, I think. I did hours and hours and hours of 10,000, at least probably like 100,000 hours of practice to get where I've got. It wasn't an overnight thing.
That's right.
But yeah, you know, obviously you still know there's people on another level of scratch DJing and stuff, which I just respect through and through.
And like you say, that the Asperger's, the whole kind of, well, it's OCD, isn't it? When you get into the DJ world, it's like you are that repetition of the thing you're doing. It's that I must get better, I must progress, and you start, you know, geek o'clock.
DJs are also kind of socially awkward as well, usually, because we used to being on our own in a room just practicing.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed a lot of DJs.
You know who you are.
Yeah, we always feel more secure. Like if we're in the club and we're not DJing, we're always stood by the booth because we were like this is where it should be. This is my natural habitat. We feel safe behind there.
Yeah. And you're just watching the person doing it.
Yeah, or just like hanging out there. I'm like, why are my DJ mates all hanging right here by the booth and they take up so much space?
It's funny.
Like, why? But they're always, I think we're all quite geeky and socially awkward by the nature of it. And musicians are in our heads a lot as well. So you add all those things together, it's slightly weird.
Yeah, totally. But you were, it's been before a bit, you worked in fashion as well a little bit. You dipped your toe here and there.
I've done because I've got a degree in fine art, and then before that I was doing fashion and art, and that's what I did at university. But I was there, but I wasn't there because I was running all dayers and club nights and stuff. Even when I was at university, that's why I funded my. And every weekend I'd be in London, like either DJing or at a club or whatever. So I've got that art background. And hence, I don't know whether it's because of that or maybe because I played cross genres, but I've done so much work in fashion, gigs in fashion. So from the Elle Style Awards to Vogue to Glamour Awards to
London Fashion Week and all that.
London Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, making music for catwalks. So I've done loads of that.
Wow.
I've DJ'd for like Giuseppe Zanotti for his parties, for like so many fashion brands I've forgotten. Like there's just so many. I did that for a long time. Like I saw that clubs weren't always paying on time and people would be owed a lot of money and like promoting was hard. So I had that, but I was also doing big gigs for a lot more money in the fashion world. And
that's the paydayers. Those are the ones that you hooked up. If the worst fails, you've got that locked in.
Yeah, and I'd always set my feet high and stick to it. I mean, I can still probably count on two hands, maybe a little over that now, but the amount of gigs I've ever done for free, ever. Since the beginning, I always set my price. And
you have to know your worth.
You have to. And if I didn't get the job, I'm like, well, they weren't serious enough to hire me.
Which sometimes can hurt. But
yeah,
you know for
especially if you know those people playing for free.
Yeah.
Like, and you see, like, people on festival lineups, you're like, I know you're not getting paid for that. But I'm like, why am I coming all the way to a field in the middle of Cornwall or wherever to not get paid properly?
Agree.
It makes no sense. And also disrespecting our trade.
And other people, because, like, you create this this competitive dog eat dog, and it's like
it is like that anyway. But
but it doesn't help when someone does say do it for free, because the moment that person does it for free, everyone else devalues.
But if you're not very good and you're doing it for free, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Which again is quality control. If the person wants it for free, then 9 times out of 10,
it ain't
gonna
so
be
I've always been like, pay me this much. But yeah, I've done. I mean, I have to look at my own bio to remember all the different things that I've done at this point because it's been so long and so many. But I have been able to travel the whole world doing it, so it's been like good. But fashion is definitely something that was interesting to me. But it just seemed so obvious that music and fashion go hand in hand. Like all the designers have DJs doing their shows and putting their stuff together. So
it is obvious.
Yeah,
and again, and there's another arm to the marketing aspect and the way that people think. If I see somebody that's kind of like not really Ed Sheeran was a good example, right? You know, when he first came out, I mean, he's smashed it now. Yeah. But when he first came out, he was doing the kind of baggy Duff's looking kind of outfits and looked a bit kind of straggly, and I was like, that's cute.
But isn't he from a farm or somewhere?
He's from like out of town somewhere.
Cornwall or Devon or something. So that's probably their
it's probably their thing.
It's brand for him.
Yeah. So somewhere down the line, that was endeared. People started loving it.
Yeah.
And then there was this.
I think it's just
shift.
because of his massive songwriting abilities, though, right? Because he's 100%. So good at writing.
100%. But then there's people like Kelis and yourself that that can marry the two things together off the bat, and it's like I always use Slash Guns N' Roses as an analogy.
God, I love him.
But it's the hat. It's the hat, the glasses, you know it. Come on. Oh, hold on. Right, so for those of you who are listening and not watching, she's got a Guns N' Roses t-shirt on. Yes, absolutely. And then I've just noticed an original motherfucking Vivienne Westwood orb fucking necklace.
This one says badass. Another mum made that and gave it to me.
My God. Fire.
And then I've got my rave necklace as well. Don't know if that's there. Yeah, because Mums That Rave.
Mums That Rave.
And mums make this as well. I'm all about supporting other mum businesses.
Yeah, come on.
The hustle ain't easy, ladies.
For real.
The fashion thing. So then I started, before influencers, before all that, I started getting paid to do campaigns with people. So I I was like the face of Reebok worldwide for the UK.
I remember
2009.
2009. Yeah, because that was when I started doing stuff with them. I still got the pumps, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how they survived, but they have.
Yeah. Oh, I still like Reebok trainers.
Me
though.
too. I fuck with them. I like them.
Yeah, I like every brand's got something that I like.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so but before that I was doing a lot of stuff with brand placement, and people would give me product or pay me to do like endorsements and stuff. So I kind of jumped on that from around 2003. And from around 2001 to 5 I was playing in Ibiza, resident out there, Marbella, before Mobs, before Towie. So I just realised, I've done all this stuff first before other people, but probably not capitalised on it, because by the time I get bored of it, then it comes around and people make a really big business out of it, you know?
Sometimes you can be a little bit too forward thinking. That doesn't...
You don't hit it like right when it's hitting the money.
It takes a lot of, calculative movements to make that.
Yeah, and
when
also
you know it's the wave and it's happening, and
probably a business manager as well, whereas I've just always managed everything myself, like down to contracts, down to chasing money, you name it. So I'd be like chasing the advertising agency, where's my money? It's not easy because a lot of times, you know, you can't be bad cop.
But that's attractive, isn't it? To have critical acclaim of being the first person to do something, combined with the quality of being independent as fuck.
Yeah.
Being a powerful female within the equation as well.
Yeah.
And like you say, you know, you're facing up to things, and I think that directness and the way that you are ahead of the curve and stuff. I think that probably makes you an attractive proposition, which has created what has
Who
happened.
knows? Like, I just think you've always got to be reinventing yourself in music constantly, like moving forward. And like when you get a bit comfortable and then it's a bit uncomfortable, and maybe you haven't got, like you've got, like you said, a week or a couple of weeks, that's the time when you should be thinking about your next move, you know? Like if you haven't got the bookings, or you've got to think outside the box and move on to the next thing. And it's always that uncomfortable feeling like, I don't really want to be here. But that's when you push yourself and something else great will happen.
Yeah. How uncomfortable is uncomfortable for you in that? What's the worst? What's the thing where you're just like, oh God, I'm doing something that I really have never done before, and I don't know how to go through this.
It's being on certain tours with artists that is not very creative, and
you're slowly dying.
They've
inside.
had like band members that have been very bullying and aggressive, and there's been toxic situations where I'm just like, I am out of here. Peace. I can go and earn money elsewhere.
Yeah.
Nothing is worth my mental health or compromising myself to the point where, like, I'm already compromising myself because I'm not really into your music pop-wise. I don't really know that stuff that well. Like, I love 80s pop and 70s and, like, that era. But once you get to 90s, I think it became, like, Five and Spice Girls and all that. Firstly, I was the same age, so I'm like, why would I be listening to that music? It's terrible.
Yeah, got you.
And secondly, I was into Wu-Tang and Biggie and, like, house music and cool shit and raves and, like, actual cool stuff that changed the world.
And they just weren't on that radar. They just weren't.
We weren't like, if they came to our parties, we'd be like, why the fuck are they here again? Like, why? Me and my friends would be laughing, like, why? Why is, like, Hugh Grant trying to get into our party? Why is the Spice Girls here? We don't understand.
They really want to zig a cigar.
Yeah, like nothing against them. They're nice people. Like, Emma Bunton was always lovely. But it wasn't our demographic. We weren't interested in whether they thought our things were cool or not, because we were doing, like, actual cool shit.
So
with Pharrell and, like, Missy and Ludacris and Jam Master Jay coming and hanging out in the DJ booth with me and stuff like that.
Yeah. So to the point they wanted to be down, but they just weren't down. They just weren't quite down.
Well, I don't know, but it just wasn't what rocked my boat. So when I started touring and doing more pop stuff, it wasn't like I needed to do that. I'm like, I'm already DJing. I'm a DJ within my own right. I'm coming to do this because it's fun. It'll pay my tax bill, quite honestly. And it's a different audience for me, so I like doing it. But as soon as it infringes into the fact that it's not fun anymore, or there are toxic people, or I see blatant sexism or homophobia or any of those things happening within that setup.
I fucking hate that. I hate it when
like,
you're put in a
I'm
compromised
like,
position where it's like, do I have to turn around and
the
tell
thing
you
is,
that's
I'll
fucked
be the
up?
one that tells you about yourself, and
I
I will
hate
use the
that.
C word or whatever it takes. Like, I'll get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm taking it. I'm just gonna DJ, mind my own business, but then there comes a point where we're always self-employed, so we can always tell you to go fuck yourself. Yeah.
What's the most toxic situation you've been? Oh, give me the toxic.
I can't. I've never spoken about it.
Give me the
and I don't
toxic
think I will.
gossips. Okay, all right then.
No, I can't, because it would just open a can of worms. Like, I care, and I don't actually care about it
Actually,
anymore.
that's a really good point.
Do
That's
you know
a
what I
really
mean?
good point.
I'm like, whatever.
Because sometimes we can get into these places where it's like you just draw a line in the sand because you know
Yeah.
facing forward is better. And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, but the thing is with me is I never forget. So I can hold a grudge forever against you, your dog, your family, whoever. Like,
Is
but
that a
I'll
trait
never-
you understand yourself as having?
Yeah, I know my downfalls. Like, I am not perfect in any way, and I'm much nicer now than I used to be. I used to be like, I'll fight you. Because that was
I
coming
don't
up
know
in
this
clubs.
side of Nikki. I don't
Well,
know, honestly.
When you're like a woman DJ in clubs at the front end and you're out at night on your own, because you
Yeah.
can't always have someone that's going to come with you, driving around the country. I would go to Sheffield every Friday. I would go to Brighton. Like, I've been everywhere. Like, you are in a random place in the West End at like various clubs where people think that money talks and they can do whatever they want to you.
Yeah.
I've been physically assaulted at work. I've been sexually assaulted at work by other DJs, by promoters, by punters, like you name it. You're going down.
That's
mate.
happened.
Oh yeah, many, many, many times. Like so many times. There's
Did you
been
have to fucking
situations where you're like, it's going down now.
Did you have to knock a person out for that sort of shit?
Oh, I mean, I have done, yeah. One guy, I was in the box in Soho, and a guy put his. I'd just done a show we did a show for Roberto Cavalli with Kelis, and we went there afterwards to like have fun and whatever, and I'm dressed completely appropriately, like nothing on show, nothing. Not that should ever be a factor. And some guy just comes and like puts his hand up my dress and then like grabs me and
What?
And I was like so in shock. I was like, wait, did that just actually happen? And he looked me dead in the eye and then did it again. And I was like, I looked around to see if Kelis was near because she's tall as well, like both 5'10". Like, I'm like, where's my friends?
Yeah.
And no one was around. So I basically just throat punched him before I knew what I'd done. And then I was like elbowing him on the kidneys, like as he's bent over.
Fucking right.
I'm like, what the hell? Why is that okay
Yeah.
to do that? But that's like in many, many, many occurrences over the decades of
Fuck's
DJing.
wrong with you lot?
I know, right? But yeah, like before I've never trained in. Recently, I did Krav Maga. Is that how you say it? I always get it wrong. But I went to class because I was like, I need to be able to know how to do this properly. But yeah, that was just instinct, and like, I'm like, just throat punched him, took him down, whatever, and then got out of there because I'm very aware that once he gets back up, he might want to hit me. So I'm like, but as it happened, no one in the club did anything to help. And just a big circle around me, like I was the problem, basically.
I hate that. I hate that.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I hate that.
But yeah, I mean, it's
Whoever
happened
strikes the
so
first
many
punch,
times.
right? It's like-
Yeah, no, mate, you're going down. But so now I'm like a lot calmer. But this was only like maybe 7-8 years ago. But me 20 years ago, when this stuff used to happen, I used to really take it personally, have a big issue, and I'd be like, I have to fight every time I go to work. You know what I mean? But yeah, so you're at the raw end of the clubs. You don't have a manager. You don't have protection. You don't have like. You learn to be able to cope with these situations. Now I can kind of see. I could always see when something was going to kick off, but I come from the era where things really kicked off in clubs. Like one time we were doing a club night and we turned a guy away, and he came back. Me and my friend Liz. And he came back and did a drive-by shooting on the door and shot the doors off. And, like, that kind of stuff was not alien. Like, there'd be... Before they brought in the 5 years... I think it was 5 years for, like, possession for guns. Like, it was more widespread that things like that would happen. So we come from, like... And we're just two young girls running a club in central London, like, running a club night. And then you're put in these kind of situations... So it was crazy times. Like one time I was DJing with Swing at Ludacris's party. Was it Ludacris's party? Oh my god, my memory's so bad because there's so much happened. But I think it was Ludacris or Ja Rule, I think. and someone jacked him. I think it was from West London. They jacked him for his chain, and it's now like folklore history.
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah.
The whole club was like bottles flying, people kicking off. Ja Rule's running down Wardour Street after the guy to get his chain back. Like, people have got the, the velvet rope things, they're like smashing other people. It was just, but I'm like, oh, again.
Yeah.
And me and Swing are like hiding in the DJ booth together. And then I went behind the bar bit because I'm like, I can always say I'm the DJ. Like, and another time I was doing another night in Tokyo Joe's on a Sunday, and that
Where's
literally,
Tokyo Joe's?
It was off Piccadilly. It's called, I think it's not there anymore. But Sunday night was like a big night, and that literally turned into World War III with bottles flying, like glass, people just fighting each other for no reason. It was just mental. So these kind of things do shape you as a, like a woman, you're a DJ just in these situations. Clubland was like a lot more hairy back in the day. Yeah. Now I feel like I can kind of pick and choose my gigs more, and I'm not at the front line. But when I do have residencies and I'm back on the front line and dealing with that stuff, I try to be very, very, very patient because...
Get that passive income going as well.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, I love DJing, and I don't want to have to give it up because there's a few arseholes that make your life difficult.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why should we have to put 100%. Up with that?
And these are a lot of these people are gatekeepers to certain things, and you can't just say what you fucking think.
I do quite often, and then I have to leave.
Yeah.
But I have done many times, and there's been a lot of politics with like bringing artists and guest lists and who's allowed in and who isn't. I got fed up of all of that because I could see like very, very particular biases, and there's so much politics in Clubland.
Bureaucracy, man.
But also, so many clubs have closed. Like, we haven't got the same training ground we used to do.
That's
so
mad,
people are going from being on radio, not being a DJ, getting a radio show, then being taught to DJ, and then getting an agent who's getting them big festival gigs when they've not worked their way through clubs, like doing their groundwork and their apprenticeship.
You're well thought through. That is exactly what's going on there.
Yeah, and so before there used to be loads of clubs, and we could all have residencies, and we'd be doing stuff all the time. There's hardly any clubs now.
Yeah.
So where are you learning your craft? Do you know what I mean?
Cutting your chops.
You're doing it on YouTube or you're doing it on Instagram. If you're doing scratch stuff, because that's great for that. But yeah, there's certain people that are just getting radio shows and then going to play out, and you've got no kind of wherewithal of what you should actually be doing to put a set together, let alone how different a festival set is to a club set, to an event set, to a press day, to a fashion show, like all these different things. Yeah, they've all got to be different. But so it's just, it's mad. But I've seen all the eras.
There's not enough to go around, is there? There's not enough
there's definitely not.
Venues to go around.
There's not enough venues. People are playing for less. Like, it's mad to me that the West End clubs that take so much money pay their DJs the worst.
Scary, isn't it?
Scary. And DJs will be owed for months and months and months because they do it all on invoice now.
Yeah.
I've known DJs have been like $8,000 owed, and then they'll change the name of the club and refuse to pay them.
That's some bullshit. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. And I speak on all this stuff all the time. Like, it probably doesn't win me friends and influence, but this is the reality of our industry. And we've got no safety net.
Yeah.
And no union either.
No.
Like,
no union, right?
My husband's an actor, and their equity does not fuck about. Like, their union is on it.
And it's only when you see that from a different a different career space, like your husband being like, your boyfriend being then you realise what is lacking in your industry. And you're like, fuck, why the fuck?
I know.
You know what I mean?
Why did I do this? But to be fair, when I started DJing, there was no career path for us. And there was like no career of it at all, really.
I might add as well, that you're the partnering who's actually got these things and he's facilitated in it, also turns around to you and say, why haven't you got that in your industry?
I know,
and there is real no answer.
Yeah.
And you feel inferior for your industry because they've got it sorted.
Yeah,
right?
And he's got a lovely agent who makes everything absolutely perfect for him and gets him paid and chases his invoices and tells him where to be at a certain time. I'm like,
damn,
what
son.
the hell?
Yeah.
Like, how does this happen?
That shit hurts, doesn't it? It fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
so, the whole... I've seen a lot of absolutely astounding, amazing stuff, like from artists to hanging out with Prince to Tom Jones to just about every hip hop artist, that to the point where I wasn't that interested anymore
You've done it
because
all,
it's just
yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously being around Kelis as well, she's worked in a lot of fashion type things as well. She's very fashiony, styles herself, but always been a bit of a muse for designers and stuff. So that has opened a lot of doors to random stuff. Like one time we were in LA driving and she's like, "Hey Nick, that was Simon." I'm like, "Simon who?" She's like, "You know him, he's British." Like I know everyone in Britain. And she's like, "You know, Simon LeBlanc." And I'm like, "What is she talking about?"
That sounded like
and then
Kelis again.
I went,
This is it.
wait, do you mean, we were in Silver Lake, I remember exactly where we were. And I went, "Do you mean Simon Le Bon of Duran Duran fame?" And she was like, "Yeah, that guy, you know, Simon, the British one." And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
"Do you mean Simon Le Bon?" She's like, "He wants us to go to dinner." And I was like, "We absolutely are taking
Yeah.
that invitation.
Hands down.
We are going." She was like, "Oh, really? I didn't think you'd like him." I was like, "Duran Duran, are you mad?"
Yeah.
Like, that is iconic British pop music.
It's just it.
They're ledge.
Yeah.
And he was the nicest dude ever.
For real?
So nice, yeah. And I fought every instinct in me to ask about John Taylor because he was the hot one back in the day.
Just hold it down.
Yeah,
bro.
I was like, just
Hold
be
it
cool,
down.
just be cool.
Be cool.
But yeah, like mad stuff like that will happen all the time, and she will not have a clue who they are half the time.
Yeah.
And I'm just going,
What the fuck?
yeah, because my music, like I span all genres as well, so I'm interested in all of it. So like, yeah, it's just so funny sometimes, like how she's just not in any way interested.
She's got a daughter too, right?
No, she's got 2 sons.
2 sons.
Yeah, we've both got boys.
So this Mums That Rave, she must obviously be an advocate.
Yeah, she's done a lot of like little promo videos and stuff, which like buy your tickets in a very like Kelis manner of like, "I'm from Harlem, just get a ticket, bitch."
Yeah.
She's like that. I'm like, this is not charming. This isn't enticing people to buy. But yeah, she was like, "Oh, that's so dope." Because for ages I was like, I want to do something for mums, but I couldn't work out what I could do that would fit with what I do already.
Yeah.
And would actually be relevant. And I was like, do I blog? But like, do I do a podcast? But I'm not really like 100% mum. I'm more DJ market. But then obviously I post a bit of mum stuff as well. And that's a lot of my life now. And then I was doing my other party in Shoreditch, Vash Bash, that I've done for 10 years. And a lady that had interviewed me for her mum fashion blog, she's a stylist, she was like, "Oh my God, I love your party so much." And she was doing panel events, so she was getting mums to come and speak about different subjects. And she had me on a panel, and then I did like an Instagram takeover for her. And
Sick.
she was just like, "Oh, you know, it's great to see your wardrobe, what you wear on tour and all this kind of stuff." And then we were just talking at my party, and I was like, we should just do it together, like do the thing together and call it like, and I don't, because she called her fashion thing Mums That Slay, because mums can still slay dress code wise. You don't have to change.
Yes.
So I was like, we should just call it Mums That Rave, like it's the ideal name. And we talked about it on the dance floor in Christmas 2018, and we founded it. It was a year old, I think, last week.
Amazing.
And then we had our first one June last year, and we've had 6 since then. We got sponsorship from Primark, Marks and Spencer's. We've had like parties with different brands we've curated. So we've kind of taken it into like a new level of like, yeah, it's a rave because it's a rave for mums that don't have the option to always go out and don't want to go to a club or don't feel comfortable to. So we basically have themes, and it's very cool though. So we play bashment. We don't play like typical mum music, what people would say is mum music. We'll
No
play,
lattes, no prams, no dog.
there's no kids
None
and
of
no
those.
dads,
Yeah.
no men really.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so we have a panel of like powerful women. So I'm really, really obsessed with having more women in music speaking on the panel about their
100%, yeah.
whole journey of like motherhood. And so we had Lisa Mafia, we've had fashion mums that are like editors at magazines. We've had the head of PR at Marks and Spencer's. We've had Angelica Bell, who's on BBC One on the One Show and stuff, and she was just mind blown. She was like, "What the hell is this? This is amazing."
So she's like totally
didn't
on
know
it.
this even existed for mums. Our whole ethos is that you don't have to change who you are as a person once you become a mum. Like, I'm a DJ. I'm not going to stop being a DJ just because I've had a kid. That's my profession. Because I would get questioned quite a lot when I was DJing and pregnant and DJing afterwards, like, well, who's with your baby? And it was always women, and always women in music.
Like challenging
And
you
I'm like,
to...
and they'd be like, why are you here?
Stop having fun.
I'm like,
fun, please.
because this is my club night,
Yeah.
and I have to be here to run it. And my child is at home being looked after. Thank you very much.
But that's where the judgment comes in, and then people just
So much
assume-
judgment. So we were like, fuck you and all your judgment.
fucking
And we're
right.
going to do a rave for mums where they can go mental, wear leopard print and sequins, and have like Vogue walk-offs. And it's going to be friggin' amazing. We're going to play garage, and we're going to play drum and bass. Like, literally we'll play crazy like drum and bass from back in the day, and the mums will be like jumping up, like having it.
Fucking ace.
Yeah, and then we started it off as a day party so that they could even be home for bedtime with the kids. So we have a panel first, and we network, but in a cool way.
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah, I guess it's a gateway community, isn't it?
yeah,
Like, people
it's
can-
very much a community. So we've done it so that the online community as well, like if you want us to hype your business or your event, or like you've got something you're launching, quite a few companies have launched since we started, like the Rave Necklace ladies. They do one
Sick.
saying Junglist, which is really cool.
Love
There's
it.
another lady that started vitamins, like, and it's called Rave Cooperation. So basically, vitamins, like after you've been out, whatever, you
That's
take your
sick.
vitamins. But she's another mum. We're always bigging up mums, basically, in business and stuff. But if you're a stay-at-home mum, there's as much room for you as well. We didn't want it to be kind of exclusive. Like we were getting invited to mum events, and it was very much one thing, like bobbed blonde hair, stripy jumper, mum blogger, fashion, mum blogger. Like it was all
this kind of stereotype. blogging
yeah,
kind of-
and also like, where's the people like us that are mums, like that are still rocking it,
That
or
must
they're
drive you mad.
singers, or
There's that stereotype. It is, isn't it? It's like, Tupperware party kind of
yeah.
vibes, and it's like, well, that switches
And
me off.
Instagram is like that's like a huge mum market. Like
Yeah,
they've
I
got the
bet.
biggest market, and they're very powerful. So they're getting brands throwing things at them left, right, and centre.
Amazing, right?
Because they've got so many followers. Because obviously mums are at home, they're on Instagram. They're like, that's how they're getting a lot of their information and what to wear and like that kind of stuff. So we were just like, let's turn this on its head and be really inclusive. Like we want to see as many women of colour on the panel every single time. We want to have as many walks of life. Like if you're a stay-at-home mum or you're a CEO of a company, there's room for you both. We just want all of you here. Lisa Maffia was mind-boggling, like her stories and stuff from when she was in So Solid and she had her daughter and she was working at a pub, and then she'd go to the studio and take her baby with her, which I can identify with, obviously. But like she's hustling, like she's the ultimate hustler. She's been like, she's had a very long career, and you can tell why, because she's just like very positive. Her mum, she's now about to be a grandma, I think.
That's
she's only
mad,
like
huh?
39
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something, but
yeah,
she's
yeah.
done it all. So those kind of women are who we wanted to like shout about and be like, this is not the end of your career, it's just going to be different.
Yeah.
If you want to do something else, you just got to think outside the box, because it's not really set up for women to succeed. The whole kind of work environment, and once you have kids, so a lot of times people get fired because they get pregnant and stuff like that. So
No, yeah, it's a
DJing
stigma,
definitely
isn't
isn't.
there? Yeah. The kickback, and I think a lot. We were saying earlier about the timing of an idea. That to me sounds like you've hit the nail on the head in terms of timing.
Well, I don't know, because I read something the other day that said if you're not embarrassed by your first product, you've launched too late. I think that's right. It takes a minute to get your head around it.
Hold
So if
on.
your product's absolutely perfect,
Yeah.
you've launched way too late. You should have launched when it was not as perfect and worked on it while you're doing your marketing and everything else.
Oh my god!
I know, I was like, wait, that is
Mind
absolutely,
blown.
yeah, I know. And it took me a minute, and I had to rewind and go, wait a minute.
God, that makes me feel so much better right now.
Yeah, because with Hip Hop Homes, we had the initial idea, and then obviously we worked on all the artwork with Amanda, who's an amazing painter, but I come from fine art too, so I'm like very, like, this is what I think
This is
should
how I
work.
feel it
This
should
is,
be, yeah.
And Amanda's just amazing at artwork, so we've done like lyric posters of iconic hip hop lyrics and other music. Excuse me, it's from travelling.
Yeah, good girl. It's a jet lag combined with the aircon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always the aircon that fucks me up every time. And there was people on my plane yesterday with SARS masks on.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That
I was
shit's
freaking
scary.
out because of the coronavirus, the one that sounds like a beer.
Yeah.
That one.
I know nothing.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm sick, but what was I saying? Yeah, so Hip Hop Homes, we launched our first cushions and prototypes and stuff are not what we have now, even though it's only a year and a half old. And that made me feel a lot better because I was like, yeah, because with art and with creativity and especially direct artwork, your art's always going to evolve and change, and you'll have one idea and then you'll be like, let me try in a different colorway. Let me try. There's infinity amounts of things you can do, right? Yeah. So the prototype you start with is definitely not going to be what you should be selling on the market, I guess, or what your ideal piece is going to be. You've got to hone it down and perfect it.
That's,
so we definitely found that with that.
Yeah. That's a labour-intensive thing, isn't it? And there's an expectation to kind of measure yourself on that, isn't it? You've got to plan.
Because all our stuff's handmade in London as well. We didn't want to farm it out to another country, or we want to keep it like high-end, gorgeous cushions, but with Biggie on. Because I'm like, I don't want to have like the boring kind of standard decorations in my house.
No.
I want to have a poster of like Slick Rick or Biggie or like lyrics from freaking
just in a contemporary way that shows what
you're
about,
cool,
unique and shit. Yeah, I know exactly. Well, that's what your stuff
so we've
has,
got like Can I Kick It lyric posters in turquoise blue that look so cute and gorgeous, but like, so the interiors market, they might not understand all the hip-hop references, and the hip-hop market might not understand all the interiors references, but somewhere in the middle we meet, and it, it's working. So so that's...
I love that. I love it when cultural appropriation kicks in and they don't actually realise what the sentiment of the product is. I love the idea of walking into someone's room and seeing like Can I Kick It lyrics, but they actually haven't got the
love for that record and how like
the
immense
details of
and
it.
epic it was. We're trying to be as like empathetic to the world of hip hop as possible, but we also want to do like icons. Well, we've got an icons range where we're doing some Bowie and some Diana Ross and some Madonna and different iconic people that I just think are very influential in music, because
in general,
obviously hip hop's like a slightly smaller niche, not smaller, but as far as like who's into interiors, it's pretty much women. In what I've found so far.
Can you check the demographic in your sales and stuff, and you see that?
Yeah, I mean the interiors market on Instagram's huge, and it is powered mostly a lot of mums actually, and a lot of women. And
this is integrated. This is sick.
If you think about who has the final say of how a house is decorated in a couple, what car you're going to buy, it's usually the woman, right?
Yeah, and like as a guy, I still can't work out why my default setting falls into the delegate. Here, you have this. Because you have this idea, but then all of a sudden that slowly turns into another idea. Very cleverly.
Yeah, well, we had to be very specific and try and keep it, because it's infinite amounts of options, just try and keep certain lyrics, keep these ones first, and then we can work our way out. And keep certain, like, hip-hop artists we wanted to do, but there's so many, like, you could keep going forever. But we made
amazing.
It's really cool. But we're taking influences from them, but not directly ripping off their images. We're doing our own portraits and our own interpretation, but mixed with things like flowers. So it looks like an interiors print. My two influences were like William Morris, who did all the kind of crazy patterns like Liberty, iconic, those prints. And Slick Rick, so the two things kind of meet. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so it was kind of like those two things.
That's fire.
So our prints, you can't always see. Oh, that's Slick's face, but then when you get up to it, you're like, oh, it's not just a nice print. It's actually got a hip hop artist in there.
Oh, that is so
we made
tight.
one for LL, and I went to the Grammys last year because I've been going last few years, just rocking out there for the week and like having fun and going to parties and DJing a bit and stuff, and my friends' events and things. And we went to dinner with LL and his manager, who's lovely, who's a friend of mine now.
And Z-Trip, by the way, was he there?
Who?
Z-Trip, this DJ.
No, this was like just going out to dinner with like your actual 4 mates.
Oh my God.
And then they're like, oh.
This is not normal.
Yeah, Todd's coming or whatever. And I'm like, who's Todd? And I realised that's his, I forgot, because it's just LL Cool J,
yeah.
It's the nicest dude ever, very down to earth, just lovely. I was like, we were talking about when he first came to London in the 80s and like mid-80s and how old he was. It was like 14 or 15.
Crazy.
Yeah, and he was talking about, we went to see the Crown Jewels at the Tower of London. I was pissing myself. It was so funny.
Jesus.
But I gave him the cushion that we made and he was just absolutely blown away. He was like so happy.
Amazing.
He's so sweet. He's worth about 180 million. But I was like, look, this is a bit creepy.
Yeah.
And Damon, one of my other best friend apart from Kelis, is Damon. He's known us two. We met through Kelis and we've all been friends 20 years.
Yeah.
So he's like the king of parties in New York and LA, and he does everyone's parties, and also just good friends with like Janelle Monáe and Kelis and everyone. He knows everyone.
Yeah.
So he was like, we're going to go to dinner. LL might come, whatever. I said, I'll take the cushion then, because I was going to give it to his manager. So when he came, we got chatting and it was all cool and everything.
And you got the cushion under the table thinking,
yeah, and I was like, this is going to be weird, creepy shit. I'm going to seem like the biggest weird London English stalker woman ever. I was like, here's what I made before.
Oh, so sick.
But he was so cool. And I was like, look, I'm not weird, okay? I'm a little weird, but I'm not like stalker weird. But I've got this company. We just started out and we've been influenced massively by hip hop, because by this point, he knew that I'd been DJing since I was a kid. He'd been rapping since he was a kid. Like, we knew people in common. I remembered certain things, like shows that he'd come and done and stuff. So he knew I wasn't like totally mental. And then I was like, I made this for you. I held up this, and it was massive as well. So I had to take a massive bag with me. And I held up the cushion. He was like, you made me a pillow? This is amazing.
Yeah. Because it's so bespoke. It's not the kind of thing you.
It's all handmade,
all
hand painted, and then we print it onto denim, and it's all done as like each piece is different, so each one is like a little gift.
That's incredible.
So yeah, we were very labour intensive.
He must have lost his shit.
He was just so nice about it. But then the whole night we were like riding in the car to go to like the Def Jam party, and I was like, this is so funny.
Yeah.
And he was like, where's the pillow?
That's amazing.
He's telling his driver, look after the pillow.
Yeah.
It was just so nice. Yeah, just
You,
such
me,
a
and
nice
the pillow.
Yeah, it was just so nice. It was such a nice, genuine, real, and you can tell very clever, very intellectual. You can tell why he's done so well. He works. His work rate is a beast mode. Like, he does not stop working. He's always
That's what you want to hear,
doing
innit?
his NCIS and then his lip sync battle, and he's always filming. And he's got Rock the Bells Radio, which I'm doing mixes for and stuff. So he's just absolutely lovely and loved the cushion. So I was like, okay, this is a good start.
How many people do you reckon are working for him at that? To have so much. Because actually, you're a really good person to ask about this, because you've association with these kind of superstars and characters. In terms of work rate, comparable to like, any given other artist,
Compared to the average human,
how are they keeping this thing going? How many things?
These people are not like Prince was the same, Kelis is the same. I think LL probably is too. Like, he's super healthy. I think he takes care of his health really seriously, but I know for a fact Prince, because one of my other best friends used to be his DJ, he didn't sleep. Kelis doesn't sleep. I've noticed a pattern amongst these absolute like workaholic music people. They don't sleep a lot, and they look really good on it.
How do they do that?
I don't know. I think British people just look more tired in general, because we've
Just
got grey
weathered.
weather.
Yeah.
It's always cold. Yeah.
But we do all right. Though.
Yeah, we're all
We're
right.
all
But
right.
in
It's the rest
LA,
of them,
people
innit?
do look really healthy. Like, you can't. The sun's out.
Yeah.
They eat kale all the time.
Yeah.
It's fucking boring. They think we're alcoholics.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
They'll get a burrito and eat half of it with a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to overdo
Or like
it.
the no carb burrito with the lettuce.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And they
More zero than zero.
Also, the big bugbear I've got with my American friends, they all have the drip. It started
this
over
is the
here
new
now
thing,
with the
yeah.
tower
That's
you
right,
got and all
that's
that.
right.
They always have this drip, and I'm like, what the hell? Just take a vitamin pill, like have an orange or something.
Yeah.
Have a glass of orange. What's wrong with you? But
Monster machine people.
there was like this lady when I was in the drip shop with my friend who's like celebrity entertainment guy, and she was saying, oh, but I went out all night and then I was really drunk still and I had to go into work and I was like, you could have just eaten some chips.
Yeah.
And all of the Americans went, like I'd said,
We normally just have a
I'm gonna take your
salad.
firstborn child.
Yeah.
Like I was like, why did you need a drip? You could have just had some chips. You would have been all right for work. Like you would have taken the alcohol.
The shock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just have some chips, mate. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But yeah, all that kind of stuff is like, out there when it comes to LA and music
But it's what
industry.
gets them
and stuff.
going.
It's
It's what keeps
hilarious.
them going, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very different to British people, I think. We're always seen as, all of us are borderline alcoholics when we go to LA. You know, like if you have 2 drinks plus.
Yeah.
And we're rowdy and like...
But we're also, but when we go to LA and places like that, there is a honeymoon period of landing. And it's just like,
I
I'm
love
here.
it though.
Me
I
too,
love
man.
it. I love LA so much.
They
It's
probably
just
see
so
us more
pleasant.
drunk. They see us more drunk because of it, I think.
Yeah. And also I drink Hennessy, so I'm like, let's drink the real stuff.
Yeah.
But,
This is the
but it's
space,
the
yeah.
home of Hennessy out there.
Yeah,
There's so
totally.
many parties and like, I'm like, why doesn't this happen in London? Like loads of parties and Grammy Week is all Hennessy sponsored. They're really big into like hip hop music and just...
Why isn't that not happening?
I think
over
because there's been a synergy between rappers always talking about drinking Courvoisier and Hennessy and stuff.
Yeah.
I've drunk it since I was 16. Like, that's my only drink is cognac. So I love it. And we don't have like that same culture here. It's usually old men and me that drink cognac. It'll be me and an old geezer with a cigar. But in America, there's this big. So
yeah. It's a different thing, isn't
but at the same time, I went to a Hennessy party in LA one year, and I had to physically lift people out of the party because they lost their shit because they couldn't drink.
What?
My friend was
and your
like,
seasons.
"Oh, you're totally normal."
Yeah.
Like, did you drink? I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yes, I did."
I've just got it
It's
together.
Free Hennessy.
Got it together, love.
But
All
there
right.
was people sitting on the pavement outside. I mean, like
Busted.
average evening in London.
Yeah.
You know, outside on the pavement and
The only
stuff.
thing though is when Americans get drunk, there still is the opportunity of a gunshot going off.
Yeah.
Which scares me, man.
Yeah, it scares me as well. That's the one thing I'm not that keen on, but I love America apart from that.
Yeah.
I love going there. I love working with Americans. Like, they're just fun, loud,
Yeah.
just very outspoken, much more outspoken than British people, I feel.
Yeah. Yes.
They're like our louder child that we spawned, and they've
Yeah.
just run with it and like loud
Yeah.
people.
They're
But
a
I
young-
love
yeah.
that about
They're a young country, which
Yeah.
means their mindsets and everything that they kind of
a
get
lot more
into.
friendly as well. Like,
Yeah,
they
man.
speak to you.
Yeah.
When
We're
you're
more
in-
cynical and a bit more kind of jaded about
and
it.
don't speak to each other. And
No.
like, if you speak to someone on the tube, they'll think you've got mental issues. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in the States, you just walk down the street and people talk to you,
Yeah,
which I
that.
love.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's one part of the American culture I kind of wish would come over here. You know, I miss certain...
Let's start it. Let's start a movement. Let's just
start
talk
it
to
here.
everyone
That's
randomly.
Right. That's right.
Like,
Well,
hey!
yeah. We'll start a podcast. How's that? That's the one. Well, so what else? Anything to look forward to? Any other plans that are going ahead? Apart from obviously you go.
Oh, so yeah,
Kelis
it's the
tour.
20th year of Kaleidoscope, the album anniversary. So
Boom.
we're about to start rehearsals in a few weeks for that. And then we're doing Europe, and then we're going out to the rest of the world, and we're playing all the major festivals this summer. And I think she's got another record coming out with someone, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. We've been making
exclusive.
tracks and stuff, and she's been working with lots of different producers. So there's loads of tracks sitting there she needs to release,
Yeah.
which I'm always telling her.
Which
but
is the
she's
running
also,
commentary on
yeah,
this.
like she's
Come
also
on.
got her farm in LA, so she's doing that, and a restaurant and stuff.
Amazing.
She's growing all her own produce. Yeah, which is so ironic because that's what my parents did as well, and that is the life that I've been trying to get away from like childhood. This like, you know, like
Farmer's
living in
life.
the country and growing stuff.
Where are you originally from?
Scotland, the Highlands of Scotland.
Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah.
No fucking
And
way.
my school only had like 6 kids maximum at
Stop
any
it.
time. Yeah, from all. So we went in at like 4 or whatever, 4 or 5, and we'd leave at 12 to go to senior school, high school in Scotland, and my whole entire school would be all the ages sitting on one desk together, like 6 kids. And then when me and my sister left, I think there was only 2 kids left. They were talking about closing the school down. That's how remote it was.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know
It's
what?
pretty mind-boggling. From that,
Yeah.
that shows that absolutely anyone can do
That's what I'm about to say.
anything.
Yeah.
From that to like hanging out with like Prince and
Without
Busta Rhymes and like You know what I mean? Just living the
Yeah.
dream, basically.
Yeah.
You can actually just make it happen.
That's right. By any means necessary.
Yeah, well, no.
Well,
I've got a lot of borders.
Yeah, okay. Apart from, but what I mean is like fight or flight. You've got to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some people have it in them. Some people like I know people that really like having a 9-to-5 job and the security of that. And it is better, like, if you're buying property, if you want to, like, there's nothing secure
Your credit
about our
rating
life.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
All that shit.
there's nothing secure about
No.
music and DJing and, like, art in general. And I feel like the UK doesn't respect it enough. Like, as a country, not UK music, nothing to do with that. As an economic structure, the UK does not respect the fact that one of our biggest exports is creative people and creative industries.
Fuck yes.
And they cut all the funding for youth projects for like art and music and all these things constantly. And yet we still produce people like Stormzy and we still absolutely killing it. Producers, I mean, she went to Brit School, which, like, if you can get in there, it's amazing. But think about all the kids all over the country and the amount of talent. Like, we've dominated pop music for decades.
And she's just not taken
and
seriously.
Exported like bands like the Police, the Beatles, like all through every decade, the Spice Girls, there's been someone, Ed Sheeran. Imagine how many more there could be out there. But there's so many cuts to the arts constantly. And it's so dumb because that is what we do best in this country.
Exactly. Yeah, there is no other export apart from the royal family. There's no one else. There's nothing else. Yeah, I know. Exactly. So what we're saying is, come on, invest into it. And
they won't because they're investing in themselves, basically, the people at the top. But that's a whole other subject. But you've got to try and, because no one else is really going to help you, so you've got to make your own avenues. And I don't know how that is going to pan out with so many venues closing and stuff. Probably online is the best option for kids right now.
100%.
Like, get your YouTube popping and
just bang,
write and stuff. Yeah, but you can literally go from being a kid in the middle of nowhere with... I got a music scholarship. That's how it happened for me. But again, because there was funding, random person came around and scouted at my tiny school and saw that I could play piano, saw that I could sing and play guitar a little bit. They just like gave me an instrument. Wow. And they were like, oh, okay, so you're going to come every weekend and study. And I got a music scholarship and I played cello and I got to like grade 8. In the meantime, like, I moved to England and then I got into a good school because I could play an instrument and I was really like
you're on it.
Talented.
Yeah.
That can take you a long way. If you're good at music, you can literally travel the world.
Yeah, you can. That's the shit.
That is like, that's something that I would always say to kids, like, just practice, because if you can do that, you can kind of transcend.
I love what you're doing. Everything.
And you can actually make a whole world for yourself outside of what's expected of you.
That is such an important thing to factor in on this whole thing. It's like, take your opportunity, but remind yourself.
Also, say no to opportunities as well, because I feel like what shapes you as a human is what you say no to than what you say yes to. Especially as a woman, you've got to have those boundaries where you're like, I will do that, but I'm not doing that. Do you know what I mean? So take your opportunities, but the ones that are like very positive and like within your moral code, if that makes sense.
Because you'll also spread yourself too thin.
You can't just say yes to everything randomly. You can, but like, you're going to be all over the shop. So
know your lane, know what you're doing. Be really good at what you do.
And make a new lane if there isn't one.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're doing that. Hip hop homes to Mums That Rave.
Mums That Rave, yeah.
Killing that shit. Plus
I'll probably bring my other party back this year maybe and do some more of those. Because I'm really passionate about like helping other DJs and promoting artists and having performers and stuff. So, but my main big thing that I need to factor time in for is my writing and producing, because my writing is really what I want to focus on. I've been writing so many tracks for 2 years now, so I need to get them out. Release them, give them some artists or get some features and stuff. So,
that's the one.
Yeah.
Factoring in creative space is hard when you're busy,
especially when you're touring. You just go out on the road, then you're in a touring bubble.
Oh yeah.
Then
emails drop off, let alone having
I'm
time
going to
to
be
turn on
gone
a
for
laptop.
like 3 weeks and then a month, and all I can think of is mad anxiety because I'm leaving my kid for that. Organising.
Oh god,
all
there's
that.
just loads of stuff, isn't it? You must be like that the whole time.
Yeah,
like,
I am
juggling.
pretty much like on the verge of a nervous breakdown at any given time.
Well, you've handled it well. You went through the traffic of London very well, and you made it to us, man.
Yeah. I made it to the other side.
You made it to the other
The
side.
I need a passport to come up here,
Yeah,
mate.
dude.
It's so far from where I am. It's like the polar opposite side of London. It says something like 14 miles. I was like, 14 miles away?
Yeah.
What the
Yeah,
hell?
totally.
Where am I going? Hertfordshire?
I honestly, it's like two different parts of the
Yeah.
city, isn't it? It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
having to get through like, but yeah. But all good. I'm glad I came.
Thank you so much for passing
No
through.
problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, superstar Nikki Beatnik inside the place. Go check out her stuff. This is the Killa Kela.
Oh, should I do my website and stuff?
Tell them.
So at
Tell
Nikki
them.
DJ Nikki Beatnik, at DJ Nikki Beatnik on everything, Mixcloud, Instagram, Twitter, Aldi, Lidl, all of the above, and www.beatniktv.com and YouTube /Beatnik TV. That's where like I do like touring videos and like all our music's up there, all our music videos.
Beast mode.
Yeah,
Total
all of it.
utter
Yeah.
beast. The 360
Follow.
multimedia. Follow that shit, all right? Killa Kela Podcast signing out. You stay lucky for this week, all right? Peace.